Ian Black.
All right.
I am dying, but not as quickly as I might have before I found out some very significant information about my body. That I'm Toastmaster and fellow humans with bodies. My heart has beaten over 2.8 billion times this life so far. I can't even get my head around that number. That's 42 million beats per year. What a hard-working little mother that guy is. But we take it for granted. You know, we assume, hey, it's just going to keep chugging along, who cares? But did you know that every 30 minutes a Canadian dies of a heart attack? Now, what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you, put it into perspective. That's about 16,000 people a year. The population of Esquimalt, where I live, pass away quietly, suddenly, by having a heart attack. And quite often it can be the first heart attack, and it can be absolutely unexpected. Who knew? That's a problem. Now yesterday, not all of you know, but yesterday I entered my 70th year. I know. I'm still in a bit of denial about that, as I'm, you know, I still see myself as a teenager in many respects. I mean, put on a Donna Summer bit of music and I'll show you how I can boogie. But nevertheless, I have to really face up to reality. And as you all know, you all are very familiar that I'm a bit of a health nut. I do my exercises. I do sports activities. I mean, I walk over 10,000 steps every day. In fact, I have walked over 600 miles since January. And the reason I know that, I wear a little thing that keeps me right on my pin. So, but that's not, and I also eat very well, and as you all know, I take a lot of really good vitamins. That's why I still look like a teenager. No. Yet there are some unavoidable issues that happen because of genes. You can't do a lot about your genes. And I'm not talking about Levi's here. Now, I have a family history of heart disease. My father died at 64. My uncle, his brother, died at 65. My grandfather died at 69, in fact, the age I am now. All of heart attacks. So recently, I was doing a full medical examination. I have a doctor that I go to up in Nanaimo who is a very preventative-minded doctor. And the reason I go to him because he's outside of the system. And I can pay and I can get a full, I'm talking about hormonal panel, you know, all kinds of things that you would not get from your regular doctor. So last fall I went to see him, and he suggested, because of my family history and heart issues, that I go down to Seattle and get a Ept Scan, which is called an electron beam tomographic scan of my heart. Now, it's not very expensive. It's $300. I mean, relatively speaking, $300 plus the travel expenses, but I wanted to know. This is what my heart looks like. Let's talk about opening your heart. Eh? So this is what the scan looked like. And what it indicated in my particular case, much to my surprise, is that I had, in these points here, I had blockages. Now, this technology is so advanced that they can actually measure the flow of blood through your arteries that are hidden in there. and give you exactly the amount that's supposed to go through and the amount that is actually flowing through, and indicate whether or not there are any blockages, whether there's any buildup of plaque. Well, in my case, I ended up having a score of over 400, which you can't see it here, but it says high likelihood of at least one significant coronary stenosis. High likelihood. Wow. How to become mortal immediately, really immediately. But here's the advantage. I found out about it beforehand. Quite often you find out about it lying on the bathroom floor, clutching your chest. All right, so now I found out about it. What am I going to do about it? Well, there are strategies. There are things that you can actually do about it. But one of the things that I do is that I take 5,000 milligrams every day of high-quality omega fats, which keep the blood flowing. EHA, DHA, very high-quality fats. They say take an aspirin, simple. I'm not interested in compromising my stomach, so I take the oils. And I know they work, because recently I cut my finger in the kitchen and I had a hell of a time getting it to stop. Normally, stop, you know, a few drops and it was over. But I had to work a little harder. And I was happy that that had happened, because it meant that my blood was thin and it was flowing through these situations. So what about the blockages? Well, there's a material that I'm taking called, I've got to get it out here because I can't remember this name, Serrapeptase. Now, serrapeptase is an enzyme that the butterfly uses to dissolve the membrane on the outside of the cocoon, because the cocoon is hard. Well, they found that if you take that, humans take that, that it actually dissolves the hard plaque in your arteries. I take niacin. Niacin causes your capillaries to flush. So my wife and I now have something in common. We both have hot flashes. But I'm alive. And I am saying this to you, my friends, because I believe that it's important for all of us to be proactive about our health. This is the website that you can find out more information about that place. Two elderly ladies met at a market after not seeing each other for some time. One asked the other how the husband was doing. Oh, Roger died last week. He went out to the garden to dig up a cabbage for dinner, had a heart attack and dropped dead right there in the cabbage patch. Oh dear, I'm so sorry, replied the friend. What did you do? Well, I had to open a can of beans instead. Not in Toastmaster.